Hello everyone, this is Grace. It is August the 25th, 2020, and we are going to be taking a look at Ezekiel. We're going to start this, we're going to be doing a prophetic reading. This isn't a lesson. We are not going to be looking up definitions. What we're going to do is we're going to take what we've learned in our previous studies in the book of Revelation, and we are going to apply that knowledge to Ezekiel to find out, to see if we can get a better picture of last day events. Now, we may have to look up a definition here and there, but hopefully we'll be able to gain a little bit more detail about what's going to happen in the last days. Now, if you are a subscriber, you know that we are currently in the sixth trumpet. Well, we just completed the sixth trumpet. We're at the seventh trumpet now in our studies in Revelation, in the Revelation. And Ezekiel is the latter half, the latter part of the sixth trumpet. Jeremiah is before the captivity, and then Ezekiel is after the captivity. So it may seem like we're going a little bit out of order, and that's fine. We'll get to Jeremiah, hopefully, Yahweh willing, of course. But I just felt like, I don't know, my spirit was guiding me to Ezekiel, so I wanted to start with this book first. And we probably will not be doing all of Ezekiel, but if you're familiar with Ezekiel, you know that the captivity isn't completed until Ezekiel 24. So we'll see how far we go before we decide to move on. Anyway, and this is not, I'm hoping that this will not be a replacement for our studies in Revelation. I'm hoping to be able to keep up with both of them, since we're not really studying Ezekiel. We're just reading it to apply, to see if we can garner some more details about last day events. All right, so let's go through it. So, and be forewarned, this is probably just going to be a repeat of what you already know. So if you don't have time to watch it, this is not, you don't want to watch the Ezekiel study if you're pressed for time, because this is just going to be a repeat of what you know. I'm just be forewarned that I may not tell you anything you don't already know. Okay, so let's get started. Ezekiel 1:1. Now it came to pass in the 30th year, in the 4th month, in the 5th day of the month, as I was among the captives of the river of Shebar, that the heavens were opened, and I saw visions of God. The 4th month is the month of the Pentecost. The Pentecost doesn't normally come at the beginning of the month like that, though. But that's not to say that it won't. We know that there's going to be a 390-day year. Maybe that has something to do with it. I'm not sure. But the Pentecost doesn't normally come up like on the 5th. And I hope you have seen my video that the Pentecost is a 100-day count from the Passover. It's not 50 days. So we'll continue. In the 5th day of the month, which is the 5th year, which was the 5th year of King Jehoiachin's captivity. So Ezekiel, I had mentioned before, I thought he went in the first captivity. He actually went in the second captivity during the second siege. The word of the Lord came expressly unto Ezekiel the priest, the son of Buzi, in the land of the Chaldeans, by the river Shebar, and the hand of the Lord was there upon him. And I looked, and behold, a whirlwind came out of the north, a great cloud, and a fire enfolding itself, and a brightness was about it. And out of the midst thereof, as the color of amber out of the midst of the fire. The fire was enfolding itself instead of unfolding itself. That's interesting. Now, I do believe that this is Yahweh, but there is some question about that, and I will go into that when we get near the end of the study, because that is Yahushua that they're describing. at the end of Ezekiel chapter 1, who is, well, you'll see. But I do believe this is Yahweh, and I'll tell you why. It's not definite. That's why I'm going to give you the details of what I think and why, so that you can make a decision for yourself. And I want to, well, never mind, we'll continue. Also, out of the midst thereof, I also wanted to tell you that in the Bible, directions are proportionate to the temple. The particularly not the temple, but the altar of sacrifice. So it circles around more, even more than a temple. It circles around, I think, the offering. So I guess it doesn't matter because it's all facing east. So the north is going to be to the right. The north is to the right, and then, wait, no, the south is to the right, and the north is to the left. So he came from the north, it's heading south. Okay. So we'll continue. Let me think, is that right? East? North is to the left, south is to the right. That's right. Okay. Okay. And the south is considered good. We hope you remember that. Okay. Also out of the midst thereof came the likeness of 4 living creatures, and this was their appearance. They had the likeness of a man. Now, we did do a study on this as well. We know that this is indeed a man. It is simply a symbolic representation of a man. And everyone had 4 faces, and everyone had 4 wings. Faces being one of the primary characteristics that you identify that person by. When you recognize the person, you recognize them by their face. So you're looking at the primary characteristics. Wings being not only spirituality, but we also know that it is a spiritual covering now from Isaiah. And their feet were straight feet, and the soles of their feet were like the soles of a calf's feet, and they sparkled like the color of burnished brass. So this is speaking of the purity of the man, because brass does not corrode. It doesn't. The Statue of Liberty, that's copper, because it's corroded all over and it's green. Brass does not corrode. So this is a pure man is what has been kind of birthed from God here. And the reason, which is what we're seeking for here in this study, is, let's get a little bit further down in the study first. No, I'll just say it now. The reason is because Ezekiel is full of instruction and discipline for the people of God, to get them back on the right path. They've been coddled in their sin for so long, and now is the time of judgment. So it's coming at us. It's just coming at us from all directions in order to either get you back on the path, because if you don't get on the straight and narrow now, there's not going to be another chance. Judgment is ending. This is it. This is it. This is the wrath of the Lamb. And the wrath of the Lamb is the close of the judgment of the living people of God, who have taken or learned of the truth and made a decision either to follow Christ or to follow Satan. There is no in between. And so this is why they're showing a symbolic representation of a perfect man here, because at the end of this ordeal that we are going to have to go through, at the end of this, you will be perfected, or you will be lost. That's it. Those are the choices, and that's not everybody. This is the wrath of the Lamb, not the wrath of God. This is coming upon the people that have learned the truth and made a decision one way or the other, to follow Christ or to walk away. And they had the hand of a man under their wings on their 4 sides, and they 4 had their faces in their wings. Okay, the hand of a man, we know. I feel kind of bad for having to repeat all of this for somebody who's just coming in on the study, but it's something I feel I have to do. So the hand of the man denotes the work of a man. So we, of course, we know we have to struggle. We have to, the path of righteousness is the narrow path. The path to unrighteousness, that's the one that's easy. But we are persecuted. Paul said, I die daily. Anyway, and then they had the hands of a man under their wings, which is under the protection of God, on their four sides, and they four had their faces and their wings. Four, of course, it's universal. It means it's all of the Christians all over the world, and they're protected all over the world. So it's universal. I'm going to say international. Universal is not really a thing. It's international. 9. Their wings were joined one to another. They turned not when they went. They went every one straight forward. I think they're going to repeat that. And down a little bit below. Yeah, we'll keep reading because it repeats that. As for the likeness of their faces, they four had the face of a man and the face of a lion on the right side. So there's two faces on the right. The face of the man and the face of the lion. The face of the man, we know the unique characteristics of the man that you recognize him by is one, he's made in the image of God. He can love, but most importantly, he has intellect. He is able to make a decision for the right or for the wrong. And so, one moment. Okay, so a man, he is able to make a decision for right or for wrong. So his intellect is one of the things that has him stand out first and foremost as a man. And then, of course, the lion is the, that is the fearful part of the man. I don't know, the person the go-getter, I guess you could say. I don't remember the definition anymore, but we all know that a lion is considered the king of the jungle, and that he's like the king and the reigner, and he's the force behind that. He's the force behind that man. And then you have hold on a second. And they four had the face of an ox on the left side. And they four also had the face of an eagle. So the face of the ox does the brunt work. That's the means to an end. That's when you're trudging along. So this is a picture of a man. And I did think about this because you still have the eagle, but it doesn't tell you where the eagle is located. As we read along, what you'll find is that these wings encircle the faces. There's two sets of wings. One covers the body and the other covers the face. And it wraps around and the wings touch so that you really can't, the eyes of the man and the lion and the ox can't really be seen because the wings are wrapped around it. So I was thinking that the eagle is probably in the center. It doesn't say where the eagle's face is, so I'm just guessing here. But I'm thinking the eagle is probably in the center, and then the wings are wrapped around the other faces. And so that's just a theory, though. It doesn't really say where the eagle is, so it's just a theory. That's where their faces and their wings were. That's where their faces and their wings were stretched upward. Two wings of every one were joined one to another, and two covered their bodies. So you have two wings over the face, joined one to another, and then you have two which cover their bodies or go up over, because they're stretched straight. So they're over the body. And they went every one. So they're covered completely, that's the point. But the hands of the man are underneath the wings, so that the man is still doing the work. He's just under the protection, under the spiritual protection of Yahweh. And they went every And they went everyone straight forward, whither the Spirit was to go, they went, and they turned not when they went. Now there is there is a peculiar verse in the Bible. I don't quite understand it. I think it's either in Ezekiel or Isaiah 1, where it says when we're in New Jerusalem, we go in one gate, but we're not to turn around and go back out that gate when we leave. We go in one gate, and then we have to go out another gate. We walk straight forward, and when we leave, we go out a different gate. But we're not to turn back and go out that same gate. Now, I don't know if that means the same thing here, but the reason why they're going straight forward is because as a Christian, you don't turn to the right, you don't turn to the left, you keep straight forward. And here more than ever, because this is a sanctified man here. This is a picture of a man who is following Yahweh. That is doing the right thing and following the Holy Spirit. So he's not going to turn to the left. He's not going to veer to the right. He knows exactly where he's going, and he goes straight there without veering off the narrow path. So that's what's meant by he goes straight forward. This is just a picture of a perfected man. That's what it's giving you a picture of. And we know that the perfected man, it's being birthed at the beginning of it. He's being birthed from, like I said, I believe it's Yahweh, because of the, because of the sacrifice that he has made. And I wanted to preface that statement, but I'm going to just explain it now. I have a friend that cannot spank her child. She cannot. And I could not understand that for the longest time. I just couldn't understand it. Why can't she discipline her child? Well, one time, she's a great mother. I don't want to take anything from her. When she knows the child needs to be disciplined, and when he has to be disciplined, she doesn't let him be spoiled. She'll send him to her mother because she knows that her mother can do it and she can't do it. And I always thought it was odd, but I respect her and I love her, and she's a smart woman. But I finally understand. Some people cannot separate discipline from hurt. In their mind, if you hurt a person, then it's just wrong. And so in her mind, it's wrong. But the fact of the matter is that the Bible says that's not a correct way of thinking. The child is not going to break. It specifically says that in the Bible. You're not going to break that child. An undisciplined child is an unloved child. Now, she did discipline him. She just couldn't spank him. She just could not spank him unless you absolutely went crazy, and then of course she would lose it because she'd been pushed to the very brink. Well, that's not the way discipline works. Nobody wants to hurt, nobody wants to discipline their child, spank them or otherwise. We all want our children, I don't have children, but I have nieces and nephews, and we want them to run free and in the wilderness, like they're in the wilderness somewhere, and they cannot be hurt. But the fact of the matter is that we don't learn well that way. We don't learn like that. Christ was made perfect through suffering. The Bible is clear about that. And we are made perfect the same way. Otherwise, we wouldn't have to be here. The angels were perfect. They were perfect. They had the ability to keep the law. They chose not to. So, yes, Christ, God is making a sacrifice by having us here because nobody wants to discipline their child. This is not a joyful thing. It is a sacrifice on the parent to have to hurt you or discipline you, when the truth of the matter is that they truly, truly love you, and they want you to be able to do all good things and only have good things. But they know that that's not what's best for you. So discipline, must come into play. And that's what's happening here. Okay, look, y'all know I talk, so it's just the way it is. But yeah. Anyway, we'll continue. As what did I make my point? Hold on a second. And they went everyone straight forward. Whither the Spirit was to go, they went. And they turned not when they went. So it's showing you they went straight where they needed to go. But it also says they're following the Spirit. Whither the Spirit was to go, they went. And they turned not when they went. They did not veer to the left. They did not veer to the right. They followed the Holy Spirit as they were directed to go. They followed that path of righteousness. And I can't remember what my point was. I hope I made my point, but we'll continue on. As for the likeness of the living creatures, let me see if I can think of it. I can't think of it. Sorry, I've gotten too far off. As for the likeness of the living, if I think of it later, I'll let you know. Okay. As for the likeness of the living creatures, their appearance was like burning coals of fire, and like the appearance of lamps. So we know that light represents wisdom as far as the word of God is concerned. It went up and down among the living creatures. Up and down the living creatures. Fire going up and down. I'm not sure what the spiritual meaning for that is. Yeah, I can't tell you. And maybe somebody will leave a comment and I'll let you know if somebody else knows. And I rarely get comments, so don't count on that. I did get a comment from somebody, so thank you very much, pointing out to me that the man at the bottom of Ezekiel 1 is Yahushua. Up until then, I had never even thought to discern who was who. When I wanted it to be Yahweh, it was Yahweh. When I wanted it to be Yahushua, it was Yahushua. But I was called out on that, and I was like, wait a second, that is Yahushua, because I never even thought to look before. Okay, so thank you for that. Anyway, their appearance was like burning coals of fire, and like the appearance of lamps. It went up and down among the living creatures, and the fire was bright, and out of the fire went forth lightning. Lightning was lightning was a voice, or a judgment. Out of the fire went forth judgment. So this is describing that the two witnesses in Revelation 11. Because yeah, that's the only thing I can think of that could possibly mean. If they're judging the others, this is describing the two witnesses, not a saint. Well, I mean, they are the saints, but he's describing the two witnesses, which we knew was going to happen because the Bible has been taken away. So Ezekiel's going to eventually be made a watchman. But I had never noticed that before. So there we go. And the living creature ran and returned as the appearance of a flash of lightning. Now as I beheld, and we've already discussed that, he goes straight forward. He runs, and he returns as the appearance of a flash of lightning. But ran and returned as the appearance. I wonder if that ran is a word. Yeah. He ran. To run, also delight in it. Yeah, I'm sure that has some other meaning. I'm sorry, I can't help. I'm not sure. I just don't remember seeing ran in very many scriptures. It may mean something. If I find out, then I'll let you know. Now as I beheld the living creatures, behold, one wheel upon the earth, by the living creatures with its four sides, with his four. Behold, one wheel upon the earth by the living creatures with his four faces. So we already, I don't know if it's told us yet, but the spirit is in the wheel, but we'll keep reading. But one of the things I did want to point out is that he was a little surprised by this. He says, behold, and this word behold is the exclamation of surprise. Let's make sure of that real quick. God saw everything that he made, and behold, it was very good. Let's get out of Genesis. If we can find Daniel, we've already defined it in Daniel 7. So we can, okay, so it's not the one of Daniel 7. So yeah, it's the explanation of surprise. Yeah. Okay, so he's surprised here to see the wheels upon the earth by the living creature with its four sides. The appearance of the wheels and their work was likened to the color of beryl. Beryl, let's see what color it is so that we can apply a definition if we can. Okay, so the appearance of the wheels and their work was likened to the color beryl. Beryl stands for the law of God. So it's the spirit, which is represented by the wheels, is similar to the law of God, following the law of God. And the four had one likeness, and their appearance and their work was as it were a wheel in the middle of the wheel. So this is another lesson that we're going to see, obviously, in Ezekiel. Their appearance was as it were, and their work was as it were a wheel in the middle of the wheel. A wheel in the middle of a wheel, when you look at two wheels together and they're twisting and turning this, that, and the other, it seems chaotic. However, it looks as though, especially during these trying times, it looks as though things have gotten a little bit out of control. You don't really know if you're starting to question yourself. Am I doing the right thing? Am I really going to be saved? Am I representing Yahweh correctly? There's a whole lot of stuff that's going on around you that makes it makes things look very badly. But as Yahweh said, He knows the number of hairs on your head. He knows everything that's going on. Let's read a little bit further and we'll see that it's illustrated in this prophecy. When they went upon their four sides, and they turned not when they went. So they stop turning. They don't act as a wheel when they're running upon their four sides. They go straight where they're supposed to go, and that's it. As for their rings, they were so high that they were dreadful. So this is just to show the majesty of the rings. And their rings were full of eyes round about them four. Now they were full of eyes because eyes denote wisdom. So this is the part that lets you know that even though it looks confusing to us, Yahweh has perfect control, and He knows every single thing that's going on at all times. It may look confusing, like a wheel within a wheel, but everything is exactly as it should be. And He's taking care of it. It's already taken care of in advance. And when the living creatures went, the wheels went by them. And when the living creatures were lifted up from the earth, the wheels were lifted up. I was not thinking I would have to do a part 2 for this. I think I'm going to have to. I'm sorry. It's just the way it is. But we'll do this first, and then we'll go down to 22. And when the living creatures went, the wheels went by them. And when the living creatures were lifted up from the earth, the wheels were lifted up. So when they were doing the work of upon the earth, the Spirit was still by them. When they were doing spiritual work, when they were lifted up, the wheels were still by them. That's what that's saying. Wheresoever the Spirit was to go, they went. Thither was their spirit to go. Sorry. And the wheels were lifted up over against them, for the spirit of the living creature was in the wheels. Oh, wait. It's just I wonder if I missed that before. Did it say the spirit of the living creature? Because the Spirit is the Spirit of God. It's not the spirit of the living creature, but now the living creature has the Spirit of God. I'll have to read through this another time, see if I missed that before. Yeah, they have the Spirit of God, which I knew. We knew these are saved people, and they are not only saved, they're judging. They're judging the other living saints and passing judgment. That means, of course, that I was incorrect when I said that. So they are going to be judging just as Elijah did when Elijah said, it's not going to rain for 3 years. Maybe it's going to be a combination of both. We'll have to work through the book a little bit further. Because Moses was told by Yahweh, or Yahushua, Yahweh. I don't remember anymore. I'm confused about that. He was told by God, I'll use the general term, to go forth and tell Pharaoh this. And so we know there's going to be some of that. But Elijah, he's just called out the judgment upon the people himself. And then he went and prayed to God for the rain to stop. So maybe there's going to be a combination of both. And we'll have to look and see. That's why we're doing this study. But yeah, the spirit of the living creature is in the wheel. So now they have the Spirit of God, just as Yahushua had the Spirit of God. He reflected the Spirit of God. When those went, these went, and when those stood, I can't believe it's been a half an hour. When those stood, these stood, and when those were lifted up from the earth, the wheels were lifted up over against them, for the spirit of the living creature was in the wheels. I tell you, you know things, and then when you see it, it's like you see it clearly. Okay, let me read this again so that I make sure I'm not missing anything. When those went, these went, and when those stood, these stood, and when those were lifted up from the earth, the wheels were lifted up over against them, for the spirit of the living creature was in the wheels. Well, I just think that's beautiful. Oh, okay, this is where we're going to stop. And there's going to have to be a part 2. I thought I could get through all of it, but I just talk too much sometimes. So I will see you in part 2. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below. Till next time.